Hello everyone and welcome back to the ULM Dynasty mode. We have been extended yet again. We are 13th in the country, 33-6 over the course of that contract, three bowl bids and 2 conference titles. We have once again achieved the goals here that the school has in place for us, so we get another chance at this, another crack at this, another 3 years at this, even though we lost in pretty embarrassing fashion to Memphis in our bowl game. You'd think that would be enough. I even said at the end of the last video that is, to me, that would be a fireable offense to lose the Fiesta Bowl, then the National Championship, then the New Orleans Bowl against a team that you've played now 3 times in it. Yeah, for me, that would kind of be the final straw. I don't think I would want to keep back or bring back the coach, but, that's not how the game works. It doesn't have that kind of logic baked into it. As long as you're successful and meeting those, basic demands of winning the conference or, being ranked, the team prestige, which all things that we've done. So Purdue comes up on top here in the national title game against Tennessee. Now, I think I still have that wrote down somewhere. I think I'm still keeping track of those national title games, and I've fallen behind a few years. The last time I kept track of it was 2007, but that was when Purdue won last. So that is like Purdue's at least second or third title since we've started this, which is kind of interesting. So we do have an All-American. It's Andy Humphrey. He's a senior cornerback for us. He does get All-American honors, which is cool. I don't know if I know we have at least once or twice, but in our seasons where we've only made it to the New Orleans Bowl, I don't know if we've really had a lot of All-American representation or nods or anything. So it's cool that in a season here where we really weren't that great compared to the last couple years' teams, and we still kind of get on there at least. We still kind of get the looks somewhat. So looking over this season now, how things played out, Randall Franklin has a pretty similar season to what Manning had the year before, except for that touchdown INT number is a lot worse. That's probably why the offense was a lot worse. He was throwing a lot more picks, a lot more dangerous balls, but yardage is about the same here. Running the ball is a complete disaster. I think I messed with the coaching settings maybe. Forgot to change them. That might be it. I don't know. But we normally at least have 1,000 yards rushing from our top running back. This year we have half of that, so really not good. Even passing-wise, there's only one receiver with over 1,000 yards. It's about 1,100. So, I mean, that's nothing to slouch at, but still, I mean, if you're not running the ball well, you need to throw it well. And it doesn't look like we did either all that well. The O-line also did not perform nearly that well either. For every almost 20 pancakes, there was almost 10 sacks for every single guy on our line. So just a really big kind of regression from everyone all around, just not what we're used to. TFLs here goes to Joe Miller, who has 18 of them, dude. That's nuts. He also leads the team in sacks, so that is a huge contribution from him. And then Andy Humphrey leads the team in INTs with 10. The next closest person has 5. Jeez. Jeez Louise. And then Lester Vasquez, crazy name, leads the team in deflections. So, and then Terrell Griffin, our sophomore kicker, has a horrendous season, which probably also contributed to why things kind of went the way that they did. So there's no secrets here as to why we were as bad as we were. It's pretty clear, cut, and dry why things did not go that well. North Texas has an amazing year. They finished the year perfect. They even won their bowl game. I think Washington State's who they played. I can't remember. But they did win their bowl game. They went perfect this year. We were at 10-3, right behind them. Our one loss in conference, of course, to North Texas. And after us, too, it's a complete steep fall off by about 4 games to any other team. So that's about how the Sun Belt's been going for the last few years. Looking in the rankings, though, Purdue, of course, tops things off as their national champions. Virginia Tech is here at 2. North Texas at 3, which is gross. I hate it. Tennessee at 4. Regular Texas at 5. K-State, Toledo, and TCU, as well as Michigan and Buffalo round out the top 10. I said Buffalo. There's 2 MAC teams in the top 10. That's gross. BYU, Ohio State, and us, along with Utah and Rice, round out the top 15. And then outside the top 15, you're getting Louisville, Texas A&M, Maryland, North Carolina, Washington State, Memphis, who wasn't ranked, but now they are because they beat us. They sneak in. And then Iowa State, Miami, and UConn also sneak into the rankings for winning their bowl games. Iowa State has 5 losses, and they managed to get ranked. That is crazy. I'd love to see it was 26, 27, 28. I'd love to see that because I can't believe a 5-loss Iowa State team managed to get ranked because of their bowl game victory. That is absolutely absurd. But Randall Franklin is done here. Looks like he may be transferring, maybe. He's a junior, so he's out of here. Ramirez is also done. We're losing some other, notable names maybe from the year that you saw. Joe Vaughn, who led the team in tackles, just a huge tackle guy all around for us for the last 4 years. He's finally leaving. Andy Humphrey, who was our one All-American this year, he's also gone. Led the team in INTs, as we just recently talked about. So, that's a big loss on defense here, but that appears to be it. There's still some other big players that we're retaining, so not super worried about the turnover here. Really can't be worried about it, especially when you recruit this well, man. Look at this. This is finally the kind of year that we're looking for. We've kind of bounced back and forth with top classes and mid kind of range classes in the top 25, but this year we are for sure going to be towards the top, man. We have loaded this class, and I recruited linebackers like crazy, man. They just wanted to come here to Monroe. I don't know why, but it's enough to get us here. The number 4 recruiting class. Purdue still sits on top. Ohio State comes in at 3 with BYU at 2. BYU's been recruiting well, but I don't think it's been translating that well on the field. I mean, they did have a good year, but you'd think they'd be playing for a natty around this time. Buffalo even remains in the top 10, along with Rice. I mean, all names that we saw in the top 25 at the end of last year, they're all still kind of up here, so that's interesting. Georgia sneaks in here along with UTEP. In Utah, Georgia Tech throws their hat in, as well as Fresno State and Marshall to round things out with top 25 in recruiting. So kind of a weird bunch of names here and teams that we're probably not used to seeing in terms of recruiting, but they do make their claim for getting in here. So we load our class with 10 5-star prospects, and that's going to kind of surge our trajectory right back in the direction that it should be heading, that it hasn't been for a while because of how I've been recruiting, or rather not been recruiting. The last couple of years, I think, maybe, or really just last year, was kind of not a huge step back, but definitely a step back overall for how, how big the expectations have kind of been for this team as a whole moving forward. So hopefully with this year's recruiting class, we can really shore up our defense and put ourselves in a position to maybe get back to the natty. And again, we got 2 quarterbacks sitting at 90. We have 4 good quarterbacks on our roster. 2 of them are at 90. So might be another positional battle at the top here. Manning is still here. He did not leave. So we have him kind of to fall back on after we went Franklin last year, and it really just didn't help out. Did not work for us. Maybe Manning would have been a better option. I don't know. His numbers, as you guys saw, were not considerably worse, but they were worse, notably worse than Franklin's. That's why we went with Franklin in the first place. So, but overall here, looking around, you're seeing a lot of high 80s, mid 80s, and our linebacking core should be absolutely sick, dude. I'm talking about maybe best in the country. That's how sick it should be, man. When we get to cutting players and stuff and looking at personnel, you're going to see just how loaded we are at that position. Not even just middle linebacker, but outside linebacker too, man. There's a lot of shuffling that's going to need to happen, bro, because we have a lot of linebackers to get through now, a lot of them. So finally going to get through training here and look over our roster. And again, we have all the spots that we need, so I don't think we really theoretically need to cut anybody, but we have a lot of people in positions that we're not going to use, so we're going to cut loose some of them. So Monte Wolf, bro, what a name. But he's gone forever. He's done, because he's not going to see the field ever, so he's out of here. And our receiving core at least has a solid 1 and 2 option, but it's still 0 depth at that position. We have 4 pretty decent tight ends that we really don't need that much either, but that's okay. The line is getting better and better incrementally here. We're getting some better names here. The D-line's also impressive. Vasquez is up to a 97, man. And then Kobe Irwin, our top middle linebacker, is at a 94, and we have about 7 different linebackers to choose from that we're all going to have to probably cut all of them. These are all the 5 stars and 4 stars that we just recruited, and I'm going to have to cut quite a bit of them because, recruiting for the same position, man. I don't know. It's a 5-star that said they wanted to come here, so I let them come here. I'm not going to tell them no. You get what I'm saying? But Xavier Richard is probably one of the best kickers we've ever had for us, so maybe we get some better stuff going on there on that end, because we had a terrible season kicking-wise. Wasn't great, so we really need to improve pretty much everywhere on the field this year, because it was, for the type of team that we are, type of expectations, as I keep saying, man, we can't really perform as bad as we did. The team isn't like I don't want to say best in the country. Honestly, looking at the roster, I would say I'm kind of shocked that we're still a top 25 team every year, that we're still kind of achieving that. But our conference is super weak. Our conference is weak every single year. So really the only teams that have posed a threat to us is North Texas primarily, and then maybe Middle Tennessee State when they want to do something, once every like 3 or 4 years. But outside of those 2 teams, and really just North Texas, it's been kind of a brutal stretch Going up against them. But that's kind of it for our conference. So we've been able to maintain competitive and stay relevant, at least in the wider landscape of college football, for that reason. But I don't think we're going to really get the nods like we've been looking for because of that. So, yeah, I thought maybe in this game we might get an invitation to a bigger conference. I don't know if that's in this game, so this might all be for naught, as I've said, but it's all right. So we're going to get into the 2011 season here in the next video. Here is the schedule. So hope to see you guys, man. We got big expectations per usual. Hope to see you guys in that next video, man.